Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quentin here, and this is tutorial number 37, and in this tutorial we are continuing with our create a basic website layout series, and this is actually part 4 where we're actually going to start working with the CSS. Okay, so hopefully you guys have watched the previous videos and you have a website that looks something like this, where we have our logo and navigation, main section, aside, whatever, the footer at the bottom. Okay, so let's just make sure that you guys are linked to your style sheet. So make sure that that line of code is there, and we're gonna style this content. But the first thing I want to do is get rid of all paddings and margins, because if we take a look at this in the browser real quick, you can see that there's a margin or a padding around our image, which stops our image from actually rubbing up against the sides of the browser. The same thing with our navigation, and the same thing with these headers and paragraphs, etc. Okay, but the problem with that is this margin or padding might be different in Firefox than it is in Chrome, and it might be different in Chrome than it is in Internet Explorer, and it might be different in Internet Explorer than it is in Safari or something. So all the browsers could have all these weird different rules or different defaults, and we want to get rid of all those defaults. Okay, so let's go over to CSS over here, and I'm gonna make a comment, and I'm just gonna say get rid of default padding and margin, because that's the first thing we want to do. Okay, and to do this we're going to use the asterisk symbol, or the little star symbol. If you hold shift and the number 8 key on your keyboard, you should get that symbol, and what that does is select all the elements on the web page. Okay, so basically every single element that you can think of that you've put on this page will be selected. Okay, and we can set this equal to margin of 0 pixels and padding of 0 pixels, and that is going to get rid of all of our margins and padding. So now everything's kind of rubbed up against the side here, and I know that doesn't look very good at all, but we're gonna go ahead and put our margins in a little bit later on, but just for now, so that everything will look the same in all the browsers, we had to hit that reset into there. Okay, so we've got margin and padding. Now let's go ahead and something I actually want to do here is just take list style type, and we'll set that equal to none. So basically none of our lists are going to have those bullet points on the front of them, which is a good thing, because our navigation, as you can remember, was a list, and we don't want bullet points next to our navigation. And we also had social links here that are in a list, and we don't want bullet points next to them either. So yeah, it's a good thing just to clear those out by default, and we'll put them in later on whenever we need them. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is make sure that all of these new elements over here, this header element, this nav element, the section element, article, etc., I just want to make sure that all the browsers are going to display those as block level elements. Now most of the new browsers will do that by default, but just if you want to make sure that the older browsers will handle those as block level elements as well, you just want to make sure that you do this. So we're going to go ahead and say header and nav and article and I don't know what other ones did we have here, section and footer, section and footer. Okay, and we're actually selecting all of them at once by doing this, going one comma next one comma next one, and what we'll do here is just say display block. Okay, and that is going to make sure that older browsers will display these elements over here as block level elements, even if they have no idea what these new tags are supposed to mean. Okay? And the next thing I want to do is center our web page, because if we go back here, everything is pushed up right against the side, and you know, I don't really like that. I'd prefer maybe our website to go from being over here on the side of the browser to being somewhere in the middle, being centered somewhere. Okay, so to center your whole web page, we're actually gonna go over to our HTML side of things, and if I zoom out over here, at the start of my body tag, I'm gonna drop down one line and create a new div. Okay, so I'll zoom back in on that, and I'm gonna give this div a class of container, because this is just going to contain our entire web page. Because as you'll see in just a second, I'm going to highlight everything. So starting from my beginning header tag, I'm going to highlight everything, scroll all the way down to our footer, and I'm going to indent that all by one line. So I've hit tab, and I'm going to end off my div over here. So this might not look like much, but if I zoom out and maybe just condense all these things over here, you can see we have this main div tag surrounding our header, section, aside, and footer. So in other words, we took our entire website and put it in this big div, which I called container. So let's go over here and make a comment just to say centering website, and over here we're going to go ahead and grab that div, which I gave it a class of container. So let's grab that and select it by the class, and in here we'll give this a width. Now most websites usually have a width of about 1000 pixels or 980 pixels or something, so I'm going to give this a width of 1000 pixels just to be like, I don't know, have a nice round number. Okay, and I'm going to give this a margin of 0 pixels and auto. Now what this is going to do is leave a margin of 0 pixels on the top and 0 pixels on the bottom, but the left and the right are going to be auto or automatic. Okay, and what that's going to do is if we go over to the browser over here, figure out how much space is on this side and how much space is on this side, and then actually center the web page for us. So when I click refresh somewhere over here, nope. Okay, I didn't save, so need to go back and save that because I didn't save the CSS file. Okay, now when I click refresh, we have our website jumping more this way. Now the reason why it is not exactly centered is because if I go over and I inspect element over here, we gave this a width of 1000 pixels, which means my 1000 pixel starts here and ends here. So we've centered the big 1000 pixel div. So hopefully you guys can see these little dotted lines going down the sides here. But if you can't, then another thing we could always go do is maybe just add a border to this. So border of 1 pixel, oh let's go 2 pixels, solid black, and go back to the browser now, and hopefully you guys can see that we've got this big div over here which is actually centered in the middle of the web page. Now in the next tutorial we'll take a look at actually getting this navigation to get floated next to our logo, and then we'll also try and make our main section appear here in the main side of things, and this aside section appearing along the side over here. So that's all I have for you guys in this video, but obviously don't forget to subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, like or share this video. It's really going to help my channel grow, and I will see you guys next time.